Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête. Today our guest from Tehran is Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Majid Takht-Ravanchi. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Iran had a chance to negotiate with the United States over nuclear issues, over ballistic missiles. U.S. officials says you did not negotiate in good faith, and this is why there is this war. Why did Iran miss this opportunity?
No, it is not true that we missed this opportunity. In fact, the U.S. missed that opportunity. In fact, we were negotiating in good faith, and we did our best to arrive at a satisfactory conclusion of the talks. And in fact, the last round of the talks in Geneva last Thursday was a success. If you look at the tweet issued by the foreign minister of Oman, he was referring to satisfactory conduct of the talks. So he said that we made significant progress in the talks. And before the end of the meeting, he checked the language of his tweet with both sides, and both sides said that was the case. And unfortunately, less than 48 hours after the end of our talks, the American government, with the help of Israeli regime, started an aggression against Iran. So this question should be posed to the Americans: why they changed their mind, why they resorted to force instead of allowing diplomacy to work. We were supposed to send a technical team to Vienna on the next Monday, and we agreed also to continue our negotiations, in about a week. But all of a sudden, we faced with this aggression. This is not the first time that we were treated as such. In fact, in June last year, while we were negotiating with Americans in Oman and Rome, we concluded 5 rounds, and we were about to start the new round, the 6th round.
But the Americans don't believe you, Mr. Minister, with all due respect. It's because they think you're just lying, earning for time, developing those dangerous weapons. They didn't trust you. There was a problem of trust. They think you're lying.
No, we are not lying. We are sincere. We are sincere in our endeavor to arrive at a peaceful conclusion of this issue. And we did whatever we could to agree on something acceptable to both sides. In fact, the Americans should come forward and say why they were satisfied with the last round of talks in Geneva and why they changed their mind. The U.S. policy on Iran is in disarray. Once they say that Iran was not sincere in the talks, then they had to go to for the war. Once they say that Iran was about to start an attack against America, then they say that they had to act,
Mr. Minister,
to act first.
Yes, can I
what was that? I'm sorry.
Can I just jump in? Speaking of the Americans, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, said yesterday, Iran wants to talk to him, but it's too late. So this begs the question, are you still trying to talk to the Americans? Maybe you mentioned Oman, maybe through other channels, or did you stop reaching out? Is it now a full war to the very end?
No, we do not trust the Americans. The U.S. administration, because they betrayed, not only they betrayed us, but they betrayed diplomacy. We were in the middle of negotiations when they started attacking us.
So you don't want to talk to them anymore?
No, we are defending ourselves. We have not started this war of aggression. This war has imposed on us, and we will continue to defend ourselves to the best of our abilities. We have an obligation to defend our people, and that is what exactly we are doing.
Well, Iran is being pummeled. U.S. and Israeli officials notice a sharp decrease in the number of missiles and drones that you're launching. They're saying basically that you don't have enough of those weapons and that the end militarily for this regime is soon. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all. I'm not a military man, but I know that military matters have to be dealt with in its own in their own terms. And if one can conclude that one day Iran strikes less and the other day strikes more, I mean, that is not the way to evaluate what's going on in the military field.
Well, what's clearly something we can evaluate is how deeply the regime was penetrated. We saw it with the elimination of leaders back in June, and then again with the immediate elimination of the supreme leader and senior leadership. How can you project being strong when the regime is evidently very weak if it's infiltrated by the US, by Israel, at such a high and deep level?
No, we are, as I said, we are defending ourselves, and we are hitting back to the best of our ability, and they know how capable our missiles are. That is why it is not really prudent to judge what's happening on the ground, and they should also take into consideration the fact that our missiles continue to pour on their cities. And this is war, and this is the war that was imposed on us. We didn't want this war to happen, and we are doing whatever we can to protect our people.
Well, what you're also doing is striking, to get to the Gulf countries, but there are reports that Iran is also striking Iranian Kurdish groups inside the Iraqi Kurdistan region. Why are you doing this? Is it because of reports that they might be activated and armed by the CIA and the Mossad? Are you striking inside Iraq?
No, there are different rumors about CIA cooperating with anti-revolutionary elements in different places. So we do not take any risks. Wherever those who want to infiltrate, those who want to cross the border, those who want to violate our sovereignty and territorial integrity, definitely we act. This is what every nation does.
But you're striking inside Iraq. As a result,
if there is a need to protect our sovereignty, definitely we do it.
Why do you strike inside Azerbaijan? They're accusing you of launching drones. The president Ilham Aliyev condemned this as an act of terror. He demands an apology. He's pulling out his embassy staff. You're denying this, but obviously the president of this neighboring country is accusing Iran directly of targeting them.
First of all, we want to have best of relations with our neighbors.
Well, that's not the way you do it.
No, but please let me finish. The news, when they came out yesterday, we have been in close contact with our Azeri friends and brothers, and we have explained to them that Iran was not responsible for such an attack.
But they're saying yes, Iran is responsible.
I'm sorry, let me finish. We are investigating the case, and we will report to our Azeri friends about our investigation. It was not directed, I mean, that missile did not come from Iran, and we have already explained, and our military has issued a statement. The foreign ministry has issued a statement yesterday. And this is what happened with that episode.
What we have been witnessing since the very beginning is that you're obviously targeting Israel, you're targeting American interests in the Gulf region, but also some of those countries, Qatar, for example, is raising its voice, is saying you're not only targeting U.S. interests, but also civilian infrastructure, and that they will answer to that. Why are you striking civilian targets in those countries that are your neighbors, and many of them tried to avoid the war? Why?
We have, we informed our friends, our neighbors, before this war of aggression started, last week, that if America engages in a hostile act against Iran, definitely the American bases, the American assets are legitimate targets wherever they are in our neighborhood. So we have already informed them that we cannot remain indifferent. That is why we have acted against American military bases and American assets. So the problem is that the American military people move from one place to another. So they are legitimate targets because they have been, making aggression against Iran. So it is a war. They are killing our people. Innocent people are being killed in Iran. More than 170 innocent school girls have been martyred in Iran. Who is responsible for this?
Do you know who's responsible? Do you know who's responsible for that? Is it the Americans, the Israelis? What is your assessment?
We have heard in the news that the Americans have published a report saying that, in fact, the southern part of Iran, where that school was located, that place was bombed by American forces. So we cannot forget the innocent lives of our kids being perished without any justification. This war has no justification. The Americans should come and say what is the objective. There is no objective for this war.
Well, there is regime change. Regime change is clearly the objective. Are you expecting American or even Israeli or mercenary or whatever troops on the ground to finish the job, if I may use the expression?
I mean, this is daydreaming. If they think that they can do it, the reporters who are in Tehran, the foreign reporters, foreign diplomats who are in Tehran can say how cohesive the entire society is when we are facing with an aggression. The Iranian people are united in defending their homeland. This is what happened in last June when we faced with the same aggression. The cooperation between Israel and America acting together to make an aggression against Iran, and the people were united in defending the territory. Just ask your fellow reporters in Iran what is the atmosphere in Tehran, in other cities, why they are under constant bombardment, why they are being discriminately attacked by Israelis and Americans.
Well, a few months ago, Mr. Minister, there was a protest movement that was brutally repressed with thousands of people killed. So many people in Iran are not behind the regime and are maybe waiting to see it fall in the coming days.
But I was trying to say that when we see a foreigner trying to cross the border, trying to dictate to us what Iran should do and what Iran should not do, when the foreigners want to do our job belonging to Iranians, definitely we cannot accept. As I said, just ask the reporters who are still in Iran, ask the diplomats who are still in Iran how the situation, how the atmosphere in different Iranian cities.
President Trump was asked about the new leadership in Iran, and he said, just as in Venezuela, where I had a say in who will be the next leader, he said, I will have a say in Iran. So basically, he's implying that he can find someone within the regime, maybe more reformist than the recently killed supreme leader, who could work with the United States. That could be a solution. I see you're smiling.
I mean, domestic affairs of Iran belong to Iranians. Iranians are mature enough to know and to elect their representatives, whether they are in the parliament, whether they are presidents, or whether we are trying to find the next supreme leader. We do not need any foreigners to tell us what to do or what not to do. This belongs to Iranians, and at the end of the day, we will see that the new leader will be elected by the relevant council. And as the situation is today, which is everything is in order, while we are under constant bombardment, I mean that the new leader will be placed and everything will go in the direction of normalcy.
Just the last question. Some European countries are providing logistical help to the United States. Does this make them legitimate targets of your military actions?
We have already informed the Europeans and everybody else that they should be careful not to be involved in this war of aggression against Iran. If they help, I'm not trying to name any country, but if any country joins in the aggression, against Iran, join America and Israel in the aggression against Iran, definitely they will be also legitimate targets for Iran retaliation.
Majid Takht-Ravanchi, I want to thank you very much for being our guest from Tehran, the capital of Iran, and thank you for watching this special edition of Tête à Tête here on France 24.